EU is terrified by this move of the UK. The Eurozone is over, Europe's survival on the brink. Business confidence in Brexit Britain reached a 4-year high as Eurozone confidence fell. It has emerged. The Lloyds Bank Business Barometer survey also revealed UK companies were more optimistic about what is in store for the British economy over the next 12 months. Alongside this, a record number of UK businesses were planning to increase salaries and economic optimism rose for the first time in 3 months. Meanwhile, business confidence in the Eurozone fell following a rise in COVID-19 cases across the bloc and issues with supply chain disruption. The data from the European Commission revealed confidence had fallen for the first time in 2021. Han Ju-ho, senior economist at Lloyds, said, "This tells a positive story about the country's economic recovery. This confidence is driven by the continued success of the vaccine rollout, the removal of lockdown restrictions and adjustments to self-isolation rules. It comes as UK GDP grew by 4.8% in the second quarter of 2021 as the majority of lockdown measures were relaxed across the 4 nations." Lloyds surveyed 1,200 UK companies this month. Brexit rules have separated a married couple as they are forced to live on either side of the Irish border because of what one MP called a borderline unconstitutional application. Corin and Brett Giles are currently living 25 miles apart due to the post-Brexit immigration rules. Since leaving the EU, UK citizens' non-British spouses need to apply for pre-settled status before the 29th of March next year, if they want to return as a family to the country visa-free. Pre-Brexit, all UK citizens and family members could return to the UK at any time without visas under EU movement laws, but this freedom has since ended. Secondary pupils should wear face masks from the start of term to help tackle an expected surge in COVID cases, unions have suggested. The government should also fund ventilation units in schools to limit transmission of the virus in overcrowded buildings. Hundreds of schools across the country are expected to reintroduce tougher COVID measures within weeks of returning to the classroom as infections spike. Parents have been warned to expect significant disruption by the end of September, with England facing a rise in cases already seen in Scottish schools. Heads have a lengthy contingency framework to follow with options for what schools can do if cases surge to avoid forcing millions back to home learning. Dr. Mary Boosted, General Secretary of the National Education Union, predicted face masks, bubbles and staggered school hours would return sooner rather than later. As the UK government allowed a visa-free movement to continue until March 2022, non-British spouses have a period in which to acquire the documentation, which should only take a few weeks to process. Nearly 2/3 of UK chief executives have seen their supply chains come under strain during the pandemic, while bosses globally now fear supply disruption as one of the biggest risks to growth, a survey has revealed. A worldwide survey of chief executives by KPMG found supply chain risk is one of the 3 biggest business challenges, alongside cybersecurity and environmental and climate issues. It showed that bosses in sectors that produce goods, such as consumer and retail, manufacturing and automotive, consider supply chain problems as their main threat to growth. The findings come amid a mounting supply chain crisis in the UK, caused by a lorry driver shortage, the pandemic and Brexit. Turkey and the UK will start to negotiate a more comprehensive trade deal to increase bilateral cooperation between both countries in a boost for Brexit Britain. Turkey and the United Kingdom rolled over a free trade agreement in December, days before Britain formally left the European Union in 2020, to keep up the existing flow of goods. The trade ministers of the 2 countries signed an agreement on December 29, with ministers saying the extended deal would replicate existing trading terms. But Minister for Exports Graham Stewart said a new and more ambitious deal was on the horizon, which will include financial services.